Good evening. My name is Mike Masterson. I'm Boise Police Chief. I'm here tonight with my colleagues from Zoo Boise, and we're here to announce the arrest of a suspect in a senseless crime which occurred at Zoo Boise this Saturday morning that has attracted the attention of our community and beyond. This individual, Michael J. Watkins, age 22, of Weiser, Idaho, was arrested shortly before 2 p.m. this afternoon by Boise officers. He's now in the custody of the Washington County Jail. He is charged with 2 felonies, first burglary and second grand theft. In terms of the investigation, we know that Boise police were called shortly after 4:30 Saturday morning when an alert security guard reported a burglary in progress. One suspect ran inside the fenced area, one suspect ran outside. Officers arrived within minutes, set up a perimeter around the zoo, used a thermal imager to try to locate the individual at the zoo, but found that he had fled. The monkey was, the Pattis monkey was found in the perimeter. Officers heard noises, and zoo officials, they went over and found the animal near the primate exhibit. The monkey was seriously injured, as you know. A necropsy was performed on the monkey that morning, and the cause of death was shown to be blunt force trauma to the head and the neck. Officers, with your cooperation, by the way, the media played a very valuable role in this investigation, as it does in many of our crimes in our community, not only in Boise, but in Ada County and across the country. We thank you for that media attention. We ended up receiving a citizen tip yesterday that detectives began working on, and at the same time, Saturday morning, we conducted another investigation where the suspect reported to a local hospital with injuries, and officers conducted that investigation. The story did not seem to mesh with the injuries. The police officer contacted the detective leading this investigation, and at that point the information with the citizen tip that came in with the officer investigation led to the identity of an individual. Officers worked hard on this. I can't thank them enough for how thorough this investigation was, basically taking a tip that came in yesterday, last night, and turning it into an arrest by 2 o'clock this afternoon. This individual was charged with a burglary because he entered the zoo with the intent to commit any theft or felony. And under Idaho law, under grand theft, a person is guilty of grand theft when he commits a theft as defined in this chapter, and when the property taken or deliberately killed is livestock or other animal exceeding a value of $150. I don't have a whole lot of other details for you at this point. I apologize for that. I know the community demands and deserves answers to the many questions that surround this senseless crime. This case is long on emotions and short on facts for the time being. As police chief, it's my duty to keep the community we serve informed of crime and arrest, and as an officer of the court, I'm bound to follow the requirements that are set forth in the criminal justice system. We obviously have more information than we are able to provide tonight. Our detectives have done an outstanding job, and so this was pieced together by 2 o'clock. Many of them did not have sleep. They're still in the process of putting their reports together, and the reports will be forwarded to the prosecutor's office tomorrow for further review, and other questions about this crime will be addressed in the criminal complaint during that arraignment process. With that, I'd like to turn over to Steve Burns, director of the zoo, to talk a little bit about the aftermath of the loss of the monkey and what the zoo is doing to recover.
Well, thank you, Chief. My name is Steve Burns. I am the director of Zoo Boise, and I'm here with Doug Holloway, the director of Parks and Rec. First, I want to, everyone at the zoo is really pleased to hear that the police have made an arrest in this case. I want to thank the police. I mean, they were incredible. They were not only on top of it and doing their job, but they were just so empathetic. You can imagine how upset my staff was when they heard the news, and the police were wonderful, and clearly they were moving fast on this because you know, there was an arrest made today. So thank you very much. I really felt like it was a team effort, that everyone was working together to solve this. I want to thank the zoo staff and my volunteers as well. You know, when I told the zoo staff what had happened, they were in disbelief, they were confused, they were angry. They weren't quite sure what to do, what had happened, and why. They kept asking why, and I didn't have an answer for them. But they held it together. We have a zoo, we have 300 animals at the zoo, and they recognized that it was their duty to continue to take care of the animals that were still there. They did a quick inventory right after we found that the monkey had died, to make sure that all the other animals were there and that they were not only there, but also hadn't been harmed. And then they continued. They were incredibly professional throughout the day, and they cooperated with the police wonderfully. So thank you very much to my staff and all the volunteers. They cared deeply about the animals. I also want to thank the security guard who there. He was doing his job. He was alert. He was doing his rounds, and you know, and he caught the guy in the act. So and he really helped to make sure that there was an arrest made. You know, he started that chain of events. So I really wanted to thank him for being right on top of it and doing such a good job. Thank you to the community. You know, the zoo is part of the community. We have about 325,000 visitors who come to the zoo every year. So clearly the zoo is important to this community, all the families, and particularly the children that come to the zoo every year. You know, the monkeys are one of the most popular animals at the zoo, and you know, to hear something like this happened is difficult for parents to have to explain, you know, why something like this would happen. It's a very needless thing and senseless thing to have happened. And there was a huge community outpouring, you know, people calling us and emailing and Twitter and Facebook and everything else. Amazing amount of interest in this story, as you know, not just at our zoo and our community, but we're also part of a larger zoo community, and I'd like to thank everybody in that larger zoo community who were so supportive with this. You know, we're going to continue on at the zoo. Obviously, we have animals that we have to take care of, and in particular, we do have one Patis monkey that's still there, and we have been monitoring him closely. You know, he was unharmed in all of this, but you know, he is by himself right now, so we're making sure that he's okay and giving him some extra attention. For the short time, he is okay being by himself, but that's not a long-term solution. Monkeys need to be housed in social groups, and so he is. We are actively, you know, trying to find another Patis monkey that we might be able to bring to the zoo, and hopefully within the next day or two, we will have an answer as to what we will do with that situation. But we are actively trying to locate another Patis monkey that we might be able to bring to Zoo Boise, and to make sure that, you know, he's in an appropriate social group. So once again, thank you to the community. Wonderful. I can't tell you how much everybody at the zoo appreciates everybody here in Boise, Idaho, and that's why we live here. Thank you.
Chief, has the suspect said any reason, given any indication why? I mean, I think that's the big question on the public's mind, is why did he do this?
I think those answers are going to have to be postponed until the individual has his day in court. We rarely speculate on motive or what an individual says. In this case, there's still many questions to be answered. As I said, we've done some initial work on this case, but it by no means is done. It's going to require certainly countless hours of investigation to tie it all together for a successful prosecution.
What about the second suspect? There were details that there were two suspects involved.
We have spoken with all the individuals that were related to this incident. We believe that one is a suspect, and that the second one at this point has not been criminally charged.
But you've located that second person?
We have.
Might he face charges in the future, or has he been cleared of?
You know, at this point, we believe he was the individual outside the gate, and at this point, there are no charges that are pending against him, nor do I believe that there will be charges against him unless there's additional information or facts.
Did he have any knowledge of the assault on the monkey at all?
He was not able to help us in terms of, because of the darkness and the fact that he was outside and the suspect was inside the gate.
Can you describe the nature of the injuries that the individual suffered?
You know, I can't, and I don't know if one of these gentlemen were there. I heard it described as blunt trauma.
The individual, sorry, not the monkey.
Oh.
The hospital.
He had injuries that were on his upper torso, and we have not been able to ascertain the cause of those injuries at this point.
Do they look like bite marks or scratch marks, something that might come from a
I haven't
wild
seen the injuries, but they were to his upper torso.
Chief, regarding that citizen tip, what does that involving the hat picture that you put out over the weekend?
You know, one individual called into Crime Stoppers to give out information, and it turned out to be very reliable, and subsequently the hat was found to be the hat that the suspect that we arrested had worn that evening.
On the blood that was found, it says that there's testing to see if it's human. How long does that testing take?
It takes a long while. I can tell you from just the tests in a regular criminal investigation, when we send that information out to the crime lab, we're not talking days, we're talking a matter of weeks. And so that'll be part of the follow-up investigation that detectives will be doing over the next several weeks.
Did the suspect give you any idea as to why he was in town? I mean, does he live here now?
I don't believe he lives here. I believe he was visiting folks.
Was the other person involved from this area?
You know, I don't have a specific address, but I believe that they are community residents.
It says he had to overcome several zoo security measures. Is there any indication that he had ties to the zoo?
There are not at this point. Absolutely none.
What was the relationship between the person who was arrested and the individual who was outside the gate of the fence at the zoo?
I believe they were just acquaintances.
Is there
Not friends, just...
Friends, acquaintances.
Okay.
Is there a thought that he had gone in there with the intention of harming animals in there, or was this a burglary that kind of unraveled on him?
Yeah, see, I don't know, and I can't speculate to his intentions at this time.
Do you believe the suspect was under any influence of anything while committing the crime?
You know that I don't know. It's Saturday morning at 4:30. You know downtown life as well as we do, but we do not have specific evidence of that at this point.
Does he have a criminal history background at all?
That I don't know. I did not check before I came here. We appreciate the cooperation of the zoo and the media in getting the word out, and our public in getting those tips to come in to help us.
Chief, any additional charges? Why, is there any kind of like animal cruelty charge that could be?
You know, at least the two charges that we believe are applicable now have been filed. He's being held in Washington County, and that's why the process will evolve over the next few days. As more reports are done and information comes in, these may not be the only two charges that this individual faces.
Was he arrested at home?
That I don't. He was arrested out in Weiser, and I don't know the location, but it was shortly before 2 today.
And did he turn himself in, or did you have to go out to his residence?
We went out to Weiser.
Okay, but I mean, did he come into the authorities in Washington County?
I don't believe so.
Okay. And you described multiple tips coming in from the community. Was it the one tip about the hat that ultimately was the key piece of information, or were there other tips that led? I mean, what else led you to believe that this was the individual?
It was a call that had been placed to Crime Stoppers and eventually came to us that had specific information regarding this crime that was known to us and shouldn't have been known to others. And that was really the first major tip that came in that we could focus on a suspect.
It sounds like the call may have come in from the individual who was outside the fence. Is that possible?
That wasn't the case.
That was not the case?
No.
Okay.
No, and I mean, we can get into all the process of elimination, but I can't divulge the identity of that citizen calling in for their safety and for the fact that they wish to remain anonymous. Hey, thanks for covering this. We appreciate it, and we hope that the community takes some rest in knowing that the person that's responsible for this crime is behind bars.